Hello, 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 good people. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to a new episode of He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I'm Alvin King, and welcome to our show tonight. I hope everybody's doing well, and you kind of survived Valentine's Day, if you will, because we did our best last week with Chef Cottrell. To give you all some tasty aphrodisiac tips. And we did get some calls about it, so I hope everything turned out well for everybody. This is Friday, February the 18th, and we are so excited about this show tonight because we have the author of the powerful new book, The Master's Plan, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Author Dwayne Vernon has created an unprecedented, powerful, and thought-provoking portrayal of storytelling in our history. He has courageously written a novel that LGBTQ men and women have always been a part of our history during slavery, enduring many challenges our ancestors faced during those times, and yet we're still able to form lasting, loving, and caring relationships. He is here, and we are so excited about that. Also, Dwayne has graciously helped us with our first giveaway, ladies and gentlemen. Dwayne is giving away 5 of his autographed copies of his book. And we're going to tell you again later on, but we're going to tell those of you who have joined already. Hey, Monica. Hey, Blue. Hey, Joseph. In order to get an autographed copy of Dwayne's book, we would like you, our viewers, please go to he said live at gmail.com, and in the subject line put in the master's plan and provide your name and address, and you will get an autographed copy of the book shipped to you if you're one of the winners, ladies and gentlemen. But please do that, and we will announce this later on tonight. And next week, Vernon has even decided to possibly make a guest appearance on our anniversary show to announce the lucky winners, ladies and gentlemen. So please get the book. The book is amazing. I can't tell you any more about it than what you're going to learn tonight on the show. But without further ado, let me bring in my co-host for the night, Mr. Nigel Ashford and Mr. Vash, Boddie. How you guys doing?
Hey, Alvin. Why did you say survive Valentine's Day, Alvin? I thought you would have said enjoy.
Well, I said survived it because, so much is made around Valentine's Day when love should be in the air every single day. Why should it just be one day?
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? You see behind me, you see these flowers? These are lasting from Valentine's Day, okay?
Wow. From a significant other or from yourself to yourself?
I would not send myself flowers, Nigel. I would not send myself flowers, Nigel. And that's the answer to that question.
So you're not going to give a shout out to the person who gave you those flowers?
No.
Thank you, Vash.
It is definitely from somebody very special. And the flowers came. And again, if you follow me on Facebook, I was surprised when they showed up at my door. And I was just like, what is going on? So it was a very special moment. And they're behind me. Yes, a very special person. Thank you, Nigel. You guys.
And if you're watching the person who sent it, just go ahead and comment and just
take credit. Even if you didn't, just take credit. Because we already have a lot of people saying hello to us. We got Monica and Blue. We have Wayne Moody who's here. Monica, Scott Newman, George Pringle, Veronica. I mean, there are people in here who we have not seen before. So welcome, everybody.
Well, hey, look, oh my God. Vernon brings out the best of people.
Doesn't he, though?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Hey, look, how have you guys been doing this week? I know I asked that question. Have you guys been good? Because you got to check in with folk. Are you guys good?
Monica? Yes. I've been great. What about you, Vash?
Doing all right, bobbing and weaving still. I'm happy that it seems like winter has broken. 2 days ago, it was almost 65 degrees here in Philadelphia. So look, I'm just happy that it is warming up.
Well, tonight is going to be even warmer because Dwayne Vernon, and those of you guys got the book.
Yes.
He sent you the book, so you got a chance to read it.
Yeah.
Did I not tell you the book is amazing?
It was truly, it was really, really, really good. And I'm not a historical like reader. I love like magic and sorcery, all that kind of stuff. But that was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, I knew that it was a good book when I read it because I became some of the characters. I started talking. The book is written in a way where it's using dialect from that era. And when I started reading the book like I was there, I said, okay, I'm totally immersed. Okay. I mean, the storyline alone was great, but I actually became each of the characters that he had portrayed in the book. And so I just loved it. So we are so glad that he is here, and we're going to talk to him in a few minutes. I do have one question for you guys. This is just for the catch up. I since we're talking about slavery times, I just want to talk about Kanye West, since he said slavery was a choice. Since I want to talk about him and this issue that he has with his ex-wife. Well, she's not his ex-wife. He doesn't want her to file single status, and he won't give her the divorce. What do you think is up with that?
First of all, Kanye is exhibiting very extremely toxic behavior, mentally unstable behavior, behavior that we should condemn as a society of men who do not recognize when they have been rejected by their significant other or spouse and are threatening. I mean, it's almost criminal behavior. And the fact that he's able to do this and seemingly is protected by his celebrity status is reprehensible, in my opinion, and it should not be tolerated. He needs to get over it and move on. He can't be dating someone and then telling his ex or his current wife, whoever Kim is, that she can't be dating. I mean, like that, it's just out of control. It's completely out of control. My 2 cents.
Okay. Nigel, you got anything you want to say about that? I'm sure.
I would just say mental health is real. Emotional battle is real. And I think he's just, like Vash said, he's just one that exhibits those type of characteristics and those traits. I think he's just mentally unstable right now. I pray for him, and I truly hope that he gets the help that he needs. I've
been praying for him for quite a few years. And Joseph said, "Don't hold back." Right. Just go ahead and say how you really feel. Okay. So, are you okay? Enough about Kanye. Are you guys ready to bring our special guest onto the stage tonight?
Can't wait. This book was amazing. It was a page turner. It's going to be so exciting to talk to Dwayne.
All right. Well, our special guest, Dwayne Vernon, grew up in Portsmouth, Virginia. After graduating from high school, he joined the United States Navy and completed 6 years of active duty service. But it was after the military when Dwayne started writing poetry in 1992 that eventually led him to his next chapter of storytelling. His first novel in 2007, My Man, My Boys, was released with great reviews. In June of 2009, he released a sequel to My Man, My Boys entitled Deception, Lies, and Truth. It was his novel Roman, though, released in 2010, when I got introduced to this powerful author and his writing. And it was right after that, he wrote his 4th and 5th novels, Willful Intent in 2011 and Vengeance in 2012. But tonight we are here to talk about his book, The Master's Plan, that is just absolutely incredible, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So please welcome to our He Said stage tonight, author Dwayne Vernon. Hey!
What's up, man?
Hey, Dwayne.
What's up? I'm good. You know,
welcome to our stage.
Ducking and dodging, staying away from the COVID.
Well, we are so glad that you are here. I've been talking you up, but I don't think I need to, because your work speaks for itself. But again, we are so glad to be here. So we're going to get into it. And for our viewers, again, if you have a question for Vernon, we might have a slight delay but please ask away, and we will definitely get to your question. So, Dwayne,
Yes.
I'm just gonna say,
Okay.
what made you tell this story?
You know, it's so funny. I was laying in bed one night and I was watching. I'm a big fan of watching Roots. I just love watching, those type of stories because I'm so intrigued by our ancestry and what our ancestors went through. And I was wondering why they always talked about the white male who would sleep with the black slaves, but they didn't categorize him as gay or anything. It was just a white master that had a freaky sex drive, I guess, or whatever. So, so I decided, you know what? Let me just go ahead and write a story and create people that of the African American that was actually gay, but still didn't really understand what it was. And the master plan was born in 6 weeks.
Before we go too much further, can you give us how would you describe what this book is about?
Well, it deals with Sable, who's a field hand, who's determined and doesn't believe that black people should be property and deserve to be free. He has an encounter with the white master that he doesn't really care for, but then he starts to wonder how would it feel to have that same encounter with someone that he really cared about, and that's when Jacob comes along. Now Jacob is another character who had a lover, and the lover left him to run to freedom, and so their lives were just kind of like thrown together.
Okay.
Now, Dwayne, you've been writing several books, and even Alvin said that you've been writing since 1992. But when did this all originate? When you first put pen to paper, and what made you want to be a writer?
Well, a lot of readings. When I read a lot of other books, novels, gay characters were always stereotyped, and I couldn't relate to those characters. So I wanted to see more characters, I wanted to break the stereotypes. So my main reason for writing is to get people to understand that, we are much more than doing hair, wearing dresses. There's so many aspects of the gay life. And I wanted to kind of educate. And because I'm a firm believer that people hate what they don't understand. So maybe this was a way of educating them and giving them the opportunity to see the whole spectrum.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank you for writing this book and for telling this particular story in this way about same-sex relationships and showing that there has been a history of them for as long as we can possibly remember. What did you find to be the most challenging thing about writing this book?
Oh my God, I was afraid that the writing would make people not want to read it because, because of the way they spoke. They couldn't read and they couldn't write. So it was a lot of broken, language. And I was so afraid that when people that I can't do it. So what I decided to do, writing the book, I decided when the slaves were actually talking, I would give it that heavy dose of that dialogue. But then when the narrative came, it would be more modern with sprinkles of the language, put in there. So it was easier, it made it easier reading.
I have to tell you, I'm just going to clue people in. There's one word in particular that comes up a lot.
Yes.
Whenever I read it, I just had to giggle. It was chirins.
Oh,
chirins. So if you think you might know what chirins is, you can write that in the comments. But chirins is a recurring
there's
word.
actually a urban dictionary where you can also use that will give you a lot of the words that they were using back during that time.
Really? So you can just go in and type it in, and it'll tell you what word was probably used in slavery.
Yeah. So
Like
that helped me out a lot.
Okay.
And like I said, that was the joy for me in reading the book. I mean, actually trying to figure out how to say those words. And and stay connected to the book. And you did such a good job at making sure that that happened.
Right.
And it kept me fully engaged from the first page to the last page. Yes.
Right.
So, yeah, that was great.
And I agree with Alvin, Dwayne. I think it made it more real. I think like the language, because it just kind of reminded me of almost like B-Boy Blues, how they talk in that slang in 1990s in the New York. Like that language brought it to life. How did you do your research in going back in the history? I know you said you had your urban dictionary online, but how did you do your research in knowing how they spoke and how their terminologies were?
Well, I watched a lot of the movies back during then because I needed to kind of like, I needed their terminology to just become real prevalent in my thinking. So, but I think one of the things that really helped me is, you know, back then there wasn't a DC, it was Virginia, and they went through Maryland and on through on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a Underground Railroad tour here in Maryland. You can reach out to Parks and Plannings. They had it on today. So me and one of my book club members, Tony Ricks, took the tour. So it's actually a 3-hour tour where you actually you can actually see the huts that the slaves lived in.
Oh,
You can actually walk the path and look at the trees and how they leaned and the different markings on the trees. And I think the thing that really resonated with me was when I looked up at the sky, and then I thought 100 years ago, somebody else was in this spot looking at that same sky.
yeah.
And here it is. I'm comfortable, but they probably were fearful and didn't know whether they were going to live. And, so, I think that kind of like really drove me to like really think about what I was writing, what I was attempting to write, and to be more conscious of, like reading like when the Slave Act in 1865, when that was brought about, how they could go into, the South and bring back the slaves. And, because slaves didn't have rights then. You didn't have court. If somebody came in and said you were theirs, they could take you right back and just put you right back into to slavery. So I did a lot of research on that.
Well done.
Well, speaking of that research, you use Philadelphia a lot as that safe space. Why did that show up in your reseach?
That showed up in my research because one of when they did the Slave Act, they were coming into Philadelphia and taking the slaves back. So they left and they would go to Canada. So, and they were leaving from Canada, by whatever means, train or whatever, to go to Canada, and they created their own little community in Canada. I want to say it was like Saint Christian or something or whatever, but the blacks migrated there and they created their own little community because you were no longer free in the States. And Canada didn't want to get involved. Canada didn't want to get involved. I mean, Canada, they were prejudiced as well, but they weren't to the fact where they were in the state, how they were in the States. So that's why they went to Canada.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So Vernon, you mentioned when you were when Vash had asked you to tell us a little bit about the book, you mentioned 3 characters, Sable, Jacob, and I don't think you mentioned Abigail, but Abigail was the other main character in the book. Out of all of them, and there were some other characters in the book, ladies and gentlemen, that you will be connected to, but those were the 3 main characters. Were any of them one of your favorites, and why, if so?
Well, Sable, because Sable was very determined to be free. And no matter what people told him not to run, he's, whatever obstacles he went through, he was determined. It's like man should not be another man's property. So I think that really resonated with me when it came to Sable. And then I think with Jacob, now Jacob, his father was white and his mother was black. And of course, Jacob was born through rape, and his mother was sold. So Jacob was kind of like, he was like caught in the middle because some of the black slaves didn't trust him because he, the green eyes, and he could read very well, and he didn't speak like the other slaves. And so the thing that I liked about Jacob is because he was very vulnerable, and it didn't bother him to let people see his vulnerability, as well as and then when it came to he would listen to reason, and and it's like no matter how people treated him, he wouldn't that didn't change how he treated other people.
Dwayne, going off of the topic you just mentioned of being raped back in the day, what made you shine light and do research of showing African American men being raped and used as sexual objects by their white male slave owners?
Years ago, when I thought about this story, I remember seeing this movie. I mean, and you only remember this movie depending on, I'm telling my age now, but it was, I don't know if you ever seen Mandingo.
I've seen, yes.
No, I haven't.
You never seen?
No.
Every day. Oh, go ahead.
In the theaters, actually.
Okay.
Every day I get up. Go ahead.
In the story, Mandingo, one of the masters was so mesmerized by Mandingo, he wanted to have sex with him, but Mandingo kind of like fought back. And so I just kind of like, that just kind of like said, you can add this to the story. So that's where the idea came. That's where it came from.
Veronica says that she remembers Mandingo. It was a good story.
And we have some other people that have come on. I don't think that we gave a shout out to them. There's Wayne Moody. I think Wayne is coming in from the West Coast. I think I've met Wayne before. We have Donna Watts, and Vash just mentioned Veronica. Thank you all for joining the show tonight. We're going to do something that we haven't done with the other authors that we've had on the show. Dwayne Vernon is actually going to read an excerpt from the book for you all, so he can help you all connect with the book. Vernon, if you're ready, we are.
So let me just put this disclaimer out there. I don't know if you ever seen the show Let Me See Your Voice. I am not a singer, so I'm putting a disclaimer out there. But to kind of set the stage, think of Mama Flora. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Soul Food and the grandmother that passed away. I call them big mamas, and we don't have them anymore. Well, she's sitting on the front porch with Sable. Sable's sitting on the floor. Mama Flora is rocking in the rocking chair, and they're looking at the tree, and then and the big house is like in the middle of the field. So and it's a nice sunny day. So that is the stage. Okay, I'm putting my glasses here.
Working out.
And this is again between Mama Flora and Sable. Let's see, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the waters. God's gonna trouble the waters. Mama Flora sang as she rocked back and forth in her rocking chair. I sat on the step of Mama Flora's porch close to her, listening to her as she sang the lyrics over and over. God's gonna trouble the waters. Yes, Lord, Mama Flora said quietly. Mama Flora, how you come to learn that song? I would hear it all the time when I was a little girl. I heard people sing it so much, it just stuck with me. You knows, boy, when I learned that it was a song to freedom, I just had to learn all the words, and I started to you. Mama Flora, why come you never run? Child, I don't know. I reckon that old white man there put the fear in me so bad that I just never mustered up the courage to try. I don't know if I can handle being tied to no tree. She paused for a moment and continued. The days are starting to get longer, and the sun is higher each noontime. It's time for you to start your journey. I was gonna miss you, Mama Flora. You the only mama I knows since the white man killed mine. Mama Flora gonna miss you too, child. She pointed her old stubby finger. You see that old tree up yonder? Yes, ma'am, I see it. Master Williams tied one of my youngins to that tree before you got here. He beat my child pretty bad. He wouldn't even let me tend to him after he was done beating him. After he beat that old man, untied him and turned him on his stomach, and he throws salt on his wounds to punish him more. I cried so hard that day and prayed to God to take the hate that I felt for him away from me. Seeing your child being hurt and not being able to stop the pain just makes you feel so hopeless. What he do that for? Master Williams had a son, and he gave my Benjamin to him as a toy. That child would ride my Benjamin like he was a horse or something. My Benjamin didn't like it and pushed him off one day. That child was mad. He ran up to the house and told Master William that my Benjamin threw him to the ground. Mama Flora stopped talking for a minute and looked up in the sky with her tired eyes. She looked back at me and finished saying what she had to say. I was out in the field that day. My boy comes a running to me, but before he got the chance to tell me what happened, them white men come down and they took him over to that tree. What happened to Benjamin, Mama Flora? I dragged my beaten child here and took him in the house and tended to him till he got better. When he got better, Master Williams came and said he needed Benjamin to help him in town. I didn't think anything of it. When Master Williams came back, he came back without my Benjamin. He sold my baby, and I was never seen or heard from him again. Whatever happened to Master Williams' child? That little boy fell down some steps and died right there in that old house. Master Williams was so hurt, but on that day, he learned how I was feeling when he took my Benjamin. You think you might ever see him again, Mama Flora? I just don't know. That's been so many long years ago. Mama Flora getting old and tired and ready to rest. Mama Flora continued. A year or two after that, you come along and I took you under me. You were a sad child and you wouldn't smile, play with the other youngins or nothing. She smiled as she reached across and softly rubbed the side of his face with her rough, hard-working hands. But Mama Flora changed that. I looked over to the tree Mama Flora just told me about, trying to imagine the pain that her son Benjamin was feeling when they beat him and took him away. Listen to me, child. I want you to remember everything old Joe and me told you. And if you ever run into my Benjamin, you tell him Mama Flora loves him and that I forget him. Yes, ma'am, I sure will. We sat on the porch for a little while, not saying any word to each other. I know she was thinking about the love she still had for her long-lost son. Mama Flora, how you knows when you love somebody? What do you mean, child? Like how a ma or pa love their child, or how a child love his ma or pa? No, like someone you want to be with for the rest of your life. Abigail is a good woman, and when you love somebody, you just know inside. It's hard to explain, but you just know it. Mama Flora assumed I was talking about Abigail. I just didn't think I should tell her I was talking about Jacob because I didn't know if she could understand or even accept the feelings that I have for him. By now, me and Jacob had become even closer than we were before New Year's. I still didn't understand it, but I just knew that we were in love with each other. I felt it inside, just like Mama Flora said. We continued to ask ourselves how something that felt so good could be so wrong. I just love you, Mama Flora. I just didn't think I could ever love anybody again, I said, looking off. Why, child, why would you feel like you can't love nobody? You end up loving somebody and then they either get killed or taken away. Too much pain come with that. I don't even want to feel that pain again. Look at me, child, and I always want you to remember this. People always gonna come and go. Don't let that white man or any man stop you from loving somebody. When you stop loving, you might as well be dead. You see how Mama Flora still loves you just like you and my child, don't you? Yes, ma'am, I see. I stood to my feet. I won't stop loving Mama Flora. I'll be back to check on you tomorrow. And don't worry, I heard everything you said, And if I ever sees Benjamin, I will tell him you loved him. I said, and I turned to see Mama Flora's eyes closed. She was resting with her chair slowly rocking back and forth. Mama Flora, you better go on inside the house and get in that bed and get you some rest. Mama Flora didn't answer me, so I walked up to her chair and suddenly stopped rocking. Mama Flora, Mama Flora. I shook her and she didn't respond. Mama, wake up now, wake up. I tried to wake her, but her eyes still closed. I knew right then and there that she was gone. Tears filled my eyes as I sat down at her feet, hugging the both of them. I couldn't believe that just like that, she was gone. I looked up at the sky and remembered everything that she always told me. And then feeling a peace come over my soul, I knew that Mama Flora was on her way to a better place where she could feel no more pain and sadness. Mama Flora, you're free now. Tell my mom and pa I said hello and that I miss them. A couple of days passed. Abigail, Jacob, Ojo, and almost all the other slaves stood over the freshly covered grave with the two pieces of wood nailed together like a cross at the head of her grave. Mama Flora was resting now, and it was time for us to start our journey to freedom.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you touched on so much in that particular reading,
So
especially the fact that so many of the Negro spirituals, as they are called, were actually directions towards freedom.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, that's really, really super powerful.
Thank you. Whew.
So, did anyone else have anything else to say about that reading?
No, I'm still there because I'm still watching him hug Mama Flora's feet. So go ahead. No, I'm
Totally powerful.
I'm still there. So
Such powerful,
Yeah.
and the fact that she died after making sure that she encouraged them to take
Right.
this path to freedom.
Yeah.
Which is
Right.
so-
Yeah.
I mean, for those of you who are watching, that book is filled with moments like this, page after page. So if you do not have it, make sure that you enter this contest to get a copy of this book. So send
Yeah.
us an email to he said live at gmail.com with your name, your location, your book preference if you have one, and where you're listening to he said right now. We'll enter you in, and we're going to make sure that we announce the winner before the end of the show.
Yeah. Vash, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Dwayne, did you ever get upset? Because I will say, in reading your book, I had to read it at nights when I didn't see people. I couldn't like go out in public with what I just read on my heart. Did it upset you in writing these things and creating these circumstances, these real, actual live circumstances for these characters?
You know, I did. And the thing about it is with writers, it's like your characters, they really start to talk to you.
Mm.
And the interesting thing that I find, there were moments where I had to get up and walk away from a scene that I had just written because it was just, even though I didn't go through it, I could feel it.
Feel it.
And I just had to walk away from it. But I also feel when I can write a chapter and make you feel what I feel,
Yeah.
then I'm taking you on a journey, and that just means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So Vernon, has this book given you a different outlook on other things that you've experienced before? Or let me rephrase that.
Actually, go ahead.
No, go ahead and answer that question.
Okay. Actually, it not only gave me a different look between during the time of slavery, but also during the civil rights era, because there were a lot of LGBT Americans that were very prominent during those times. Now, I know because of doing slavery that was just taboo, and they probably didn't really talk about it. You didn't really see it, but you knew it was there because gay just didn't appear out of the sky, and
Yeah.
Right.
But then they don't talk about a lot of contributions that LGBT people made also during the civil rights. When we talk about Bayard Rustin,
Yes.
right, who actually helped organize the March on Washington,
Yes.
and who worked closely with Dr. King, and he was out in a private circle, but in the public he was very closed about his sexuality. But the fact that he organized the March on Washington,
Bayard was actually extremely out. As a
Right.
matter of fact, he was the architect of the March on Washington and the March on Selma.
Mm-hmm.
He taught Martin Luther King about peaceful protests, and he was extremely out, which was the reason why the rest of the members of the civil rights movement decided to sort of keep him out of the public limelight, because they did not want to associate the civil rights movement with Bayard, who was the big spearhead of that. So, I mean, he was extremely out. He had been arrested for lewd conduct, and they thought that was going to tarnish the movement. So we have always been at the forefront of civil rights.
Right.
The women who started Black Lives Matter, the lead one is a lesbian. So we are always,
right. And Paula Murray, back in who was from Baltimore, who fought for gay rights and women's rights. And then you got to mention James Baldwin, and his writing, and he was out and proud, and and so maybe people will start appreciating and acknowledging the things that we've done during slavery and during the civil rights era, and now.
Yeah.
Well, Dwayne, what did you learn about yourself working on this book?
Well, it was a book at first that I really didn't want to write because I felt that it was going to be a challenge. And I've always believed in, stepping outside the box, not putting myself in the box. And I think one of the things that it taught me was to not always take the easy way. Sometimes you got to take on the difficult tasks, because those are the tasks that are really going to have an impact and mean something. So, I think that was the biggest thing that I've learned about myself, especially when it comes to writing as well.
Well, one of the things that I am happy to say, that we have this platform and we're able to have these discussions. I am very happy. I'm gonna give the NNPA a plug for allowing us to do this. And when I first read your book, the first thing I thought, Vernon, was, Black people hold slavery so sacred. I mean, and they, it's like, don't say anything. I mean, first of all, slavery was negative within itself. You know what I'm saying? But to talk about homosexuality or gay relationships in slavery, Black people just don't want to do that. How did you deal with the risk of writing this book, knowing that Black people felt that way and it may not be accepted?
To me, if it's in your face, it makes people conscious of things that happened that they didn't see.
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Just put it in your face,
And one thing, the one you did, which I loved, and I thought when I was reading it, this is going to be a love story, like just a love story, but it was a puzzle. It had a love story. It had historical figures. It had past, present. It had people talking about everything from their parents. It had all different types of genres in one, and you just didn't make it particularly about a gay relationship. It just happened to be a gay relationship that happened during this time, and you did that so well. You wrote that so well.
Because you remember the kids, I learned about the opium, plant, because that was one of the things that Harriet Tubman did. When they took kids to freedom, they would give them this type of opium that would make them sleep. And so, that was one of the things that I found in my research, so that I was able to to add in there. Yeah.
That is the first time that I've ever heard that in all the stories that I've seen about Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
I've never heard that fact.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the safe houses where a certain lantern sit
Right.
in the window, I was like, oh my gosh, okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Like I was learning something. I was like, I can't wait to bring this up in the conversation. Like,
Well, this is why I asked about Philadelphia, because I'm from and am in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
And the town where I grew up, Lamont, was known for being a safe spot along the Underground Railroad. So that's why I was wondering where that had actually come up. Also, it seems like your aunt, Zelma.
There's a lot of family members on here.
So hi, Aunt Zelma. Hi, thanks
Zelma.
for tuning in. Dwayne, you've written 7 novels in addition to Master's Plan.
Mhm.
How does this book differ from your other works?
Well, the era piece, of course, and then the fact that my other novels was things that I could relate to, that I was on this earth that actually happened, or that I've seen, or that I've heard, or went through. Versus, this was a book that, I couldn't even capture the things that people went through. I mean, there's just no way. And so I think that was the biggest difference of writing about something that I wasn't really there to see, and I had to go with based on the facts that I actually have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vash, I noticed my big difference was the book covers. This book cover is different from all the other.
And it was planned that way because being that it was an era piece, I wanted it to look like that. So I wanted it black and white, and I wanted it dated. And then you see the blood and the tiredness of the slave, and and as these it's just like they were tired, but they were determined to be free. So that was so it's almost like Sable, right?
As opposed to the other book covers, which are sexy.
With nipple.
Well, and thinking about the choice to use that book cover for the Master's Plan, it almost immediately it took me back to maybe someone there in that era could have drawn that picture. You know what I'm saying? It was. I thought you gave that a lot of thought, and you hit the nail right on the head. It took me into the book. It
was a buddy of mine, Derek Vaughn. He's actually on Facebook, and he's an artist when it comes to painting and stuff. And I told him what my vision was, and that's what he actually created.
All right, Derek Vaughn. Derek Vaughn, you did that thing. If you're looking at he said, we're giving you credit, Derek Vaughn. Okay, we're putting your name out there. So Vernon, are you influenced by any other authors that are out there right now?
James Baldwin and Elin Harris. Elin Harris was the second, I think. No, I think Elin Harris was the first one, and then I read James Baldwin, Giovanni's Room.
I love Giovanni's Room.
Oh my God, that was so long ago. I was 2 years. I think it was 2 or 3 years out of high school. I was 19 or 20, 21 or something.
Yeah. Well, Elin Harris was like the king of well, I'm going to say writing the type of books that you have done prior to a Master's Plan. I'm going to say he was the king of books in that whole genre of books. And yes, I've read your other books that you've written, but I'm not going to say that you took anything away from Elin Harris. I'm going to say that you definitely put your Dwayne Vernon spin on all those books that you've written, but I can definitely see your liking and appreciation for his work.
Dwayne, what do you want your readers to take away from the experience that same-sex relationships did exist back in the days of slavery?
maybe that sexuality is not a preference,
Mm.
and it doesn't limit your greatness and contributions.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I envision it playing out in America today.
Mhm.
You know, and not with just the master's plan, but with all the other books. So I think I answered that question, right?
Yes, you did.
You have us right here. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You have us in the palm of your hands. Okay.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
that was. I think I got it. I think I do.
And the way that you handled that in the book was really remarkable because you
Mhm.
did observe that people were going to have a response, but the book is so much about other love
Right.
that all objections to other love were handled just so beautifully, and I commend you. Thank you.
And there is also another piece to the book for those of you who are going to go out and buy it and get it. The way he broke up the each section of the book and the characters, so that the characters were able to tell their own story. And I'm talking like your third party. He managed to make that connection throughout the whole book, from one person telling a story to the next person, and it just kept connecting and kept connecting and kept that to me also made it an easy read, and it drew me in. So I commend you on that also, Vernon.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I think Nigel mentioned it earlier. And then the one thing that you learn, what you might have thought all the time, you don't figure it out until you read the last paragraph in the book.
Yeah. And going off of that, it was almost biblical.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was reading a biblical story of seeing how whatever you believe in, that spiritual being started something in the beginning, and how everything connects at the end and is a part of his plan.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just so well done. And like after I read the ending, I was like, oh, like
here.
We just got a comment from Keith Jackson that he said, I'm sure these things happen. However, in your research, how successful were you in unearthing knowledge of Black, single, gay?
He's saying same gender loving, but we say gay because same gender loving does not really translate, because we'll get into that in another show.
Okay.
But he means gay man.
Okay. See, because I just say gay men. We don't say same gender loving here. No. We just say, so I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So is that a question that you can answer?
Well, I don't, my thing of it is, it's like, it's kind of hard to unearth something when you just don't know. But you know that you know that you know what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate that we don't have anything tangible or anything visual that we can actually see. And the sad part of it, the only visual part that we have is when the white men rape the Black male slaves. So, it's a great question, but I don't think that would be something you could unearth unless you were living during those times and you had someone to talk about it. So, Okay. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, God, this hour just it just goes by so fast. But Vernon, I could definitely just go on and on and on because again, I have read the book. Okay, so yeah. But as we've been saying all night, great storytelling, man. Yes.
Yeah. I have a question for you. So if your book was to ever become a movie, knowing that I'm available, what 3 actors would you want to have playing your 3 lead characters?
Sable, Travis Cure,
Okay.
He
Do we
plays
have
on
do
the
we have a
Oval?
picture? The Oval. Do we have a picture of Travis Cure here? I think we can find a picture of Travis Cure.
Yeah.
So Travis Cure would play Sable.
Sable.
Okay.
And is it okay?
I was honestly thinking the guy from Moonlight for the entire time I was reading. Then
No, Travis, is it Traventis something or whatever?
It's Travis.
Travis, yeah, he would be
Travis,
definitely a
yes.
good selection as well. But when you read the book of it talks about how dark his skin was.
Mhm.
So I was trying to just visualize, who has that complexion that could actually fit. But either one of them could play it. But I'm partial to Travis. I don't know him, but I'm partial to him.
Well, I'm still available. But go ahead. Yeah, okay. You said dark skin. I can spend 2 more weeks in Puerto Vallarta and come in and audition for that role. So okay. I think I concur with you with Travis. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what about Jacob?
William Bryant, he played on Greenleaf. Had the green eyes.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Oh, with the green eyes, you said.
Yeah.
Because Jacob had green eyes. Okay. See.
I can see that.
See.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it all the way down the street.
Yes.
Okay. And Abigail, who we have.
Latita Wright, she played in Black Panther.
Oh, I can see that too. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to work
Now,
on that.
The question is she going to wear her is she going to get her shot? Because they've been fighting.
Her.
Wait a minute. What's the story behind that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She doesn't want to get vaccinated.
She doesn't want to get vaccinated, so it pushed production back for a long time. She doesn't believe in vaccination. So they had to come up with some type of compromise with her. But now she is going to be in the movie. At first, they wasn't even going to add her inside the Black Panther movie because they wanted to make sure everybody was safe. But now they finally came up with some type of compromise. I don't know what the compromise is, but she's not going to be in the Black Panther movie.
What they put a condom on her or something? What did they do? Show her and gave it arms and said,
maybe a space helmet or something.
Exactly.
Or
she's always in a separate room.
What is going on? Okay, see, I know that's a whole nother show right there. I didn't know that, but come on, people. Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I just want to work on set. Okay. If this which I think it should be a movie, I think it should be a screenplay. I've been saying it for years, and I'm telling you guys, when you read this book, you can definitely see it on the silver screen
or on Broadway.
Ooh,
I'll take that too.
Broadway show.
Yes.
I thought, yes.
Y'all know anybody? No.
Well, don't let me go in my resource box because I keep it close, but I only open it for people I like. So okay, who knows? But Vernon, this brings us to the end of our discussion with you, man. And I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to let you know, we do have connections. We know the person who is in charge of Black Men on Broadway, which is a nonprofit organization that can connect you up with a plethora of Black men on Broadway who are worthy of starring in this.
Yeah.
So absolutely, most definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, we can hook you up.
Yeah.
Mr. Anthony Wayne? Is that Anthony Wayne?
His name is Anthony Wayne, and
yes.
he is absolutely. So if you want to do this on Broadway, we can connect you with someone who can.
I get him a copy of the book.
Get a reading together, what have you. If you need, yes, we can work this out for you.
And
for just a small fee.
But Anthony Wayne, if you're familiar, Vernon, he also with his ex-partner, they wrote Sylvester, the play Mighty Real. That he did that, which was traveling for a while. So he did Mighty Real and A Soul for Christmas. So thank you, Vash. That was good. Thank you. But can we tell people about our giveaway? We need you to go to our Gmail account. He said live at gmail.com, and put a master's plan in the comments section and provide your name and address, and you could win an autographed copy of the master's plan. Or Vernon has a new book that's coming out, ladies and gentlemen, called Counterpunch. Okay, this dude will not stop writing. So his book Counterpunch is also we're introducing it to you. Okay, he has 2 books, and he is giving 5 copies away, 3 of the 2 of the master's plan, and 3 of Counterpunch, 1 per person. So please go to our he said live at Gmail page and provide your information, and you could be a lucky winner, and we will give you a shout next week.
And I will autograph.
And all day long.
And Dwayne, I'm assuming that Counterpunch is way different. Just looking at the cover, I'm assuming.
Yeah, just to give it a little, if I got a second, actually, I always put gay characters in positions that you would never see them in. So Counterpunch, like Muhammad Ali is the world champion boxer. Well, Cesar in my novel is the world champion, and he's gay, but he's worried about what people would think if that comes out.
And what year does it take?
And it is a thriller. It is a thriller.
What year does it take place in?
Probably about maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
So it's current. It's current. Yeah, it's current. Yeah.
Well, you guys, one more thing to add. Next week is our anniversary show, February the 25th. He said live would have been coming to you for a year, 1 whole year, and we could not have done this without the viewers. You guys have been motivating us and encouraging us to do what we do every Friday at 7 p.m. You don't have to be here, but you have been here, and we are celebrating our anniversary show next week. So you gotta tune in. You gotta. There are so many surprises for next week, and we are so fortunate to have you guys. Please tune in for our anniversary show next week. Vash or Nigel, anything you guys want to say before I close out the show about our anniversary show next week?
No, just can't encourage people enough to send us their email, regardless of whether you are listening to this live, whether you are listening or watching on YouTube or on Twitter or on Facebook, or whether you're listening on the podcast. Send us an email at he said live at gmail.com, because we will be announcing winners for the 5 books on our anniversary show.
I just heard the sadness in Philip's message.
I did.
We are looking at the emails. I'm looking at the emails right now, and I do not see your emails. So you did not send an email to he said live at gmail.com, because I am looking at our emails right now, and you are not one of them, my sweet. So
and the subject line is a master's plan. Okay, that's the subject line. So we're going to close out. Our words of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Stories have to be told or they die. Mm-hmm. And when they die, we can't remember who we are or why we're here. That was by Sue Monk Kidd. And Sue Monk Kidd also is the author of The Secret Life of Bees, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Vernon, for sharing with us the master's plan. Extraordinary work. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, please stay safe, and hopefully you will join us next week when we on our next episode of He Said.
Peace out.
Good night. Y'all have a good night.